Welcome, everyday goddesses and divine feminines. Welcome to your reading this week. This week we are going to look at his thoughts versus his feelings for you. Okay, and about you and about this connection at this time. All right, so to get started, we've got 5 piles. The first one is the Radiant Rider Waite with a Solidite, which is all about the 5th chakra. We've got the Universal Celtic Tarot with a Celestine Heart. The Mermaid Tarot with this Diaptase, which is for higher heart healing. The Spirit Song has a Tourmalated Quartz, which is about changing negative energies and negative thoughts. And the Ethereal Visions Tarot with this beautiful Amethyst, which is for the 6th chakra and intuition. So as we take these away, you know what? I'm going to back up a little bit there. I'm going to let you guys take another deep breath. Okay. And choose. And now go. Okay. So I just wanted to remind you guys that if you're watching this the week I drop it, we've got a Kundalini yoga workshop coming this Sunday, April 25th. In which we are going to be using the power of Kundalini yoga, chanting, and prayer to hand the healing of the masculine collective over to the highest divine energies. That we're going to be releasing the ego of the divine feminine to help her let go of trying to control the healing and the union so she can go back to her, have her own life, and to move that masculine collective forward. So I really hope you'll all join me. You can register on my website, which is in the links. So let's go ahead and look at what are his thoughts about this connection right now. The Hermit. The 9 of Cups. The 5 of Swords. The Knight of Cups. And the Magician. Well, this masculine is in deep thought about you and about what's happened between the two of you. There has been a terrible fight that's left both of you very wounded and a lot of sorrow, regret, grief. He kind of on the surface won this battle, but he's feeling pretty empty about it. It's like an empty victory. He was feeling really, he was very smug and self-satisfied, and in one of those energies where he was sort of putting the connection at your feet, sort of ghosting you a little bit, like, oh, you're so into this and you're and I'm not really, and blah, 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 blah. Just that kind of egoic posturing he took on, that, like, you're the crazy one and I'm okay and you're not okay, and this is you being nuts and this is all you and your problems and stuff like that. And he took this really arrogant, sort of immature stance and walked away with it. But he is deeply, deeply rethinking that and is having a very kind of sudden turn of mental events where the emptiness of this victory is causing, like, he misses you, and he intends to return with a romantic offering and restart this entire journey. The Magician is a powerful new beginning. It also represents mastery and expertise. He's learned something fundamental about what a shit he was. Honestly, there's been some kind of really deep contemplation, might even be therapy or just time on his own sorting things out, where he's been able to reevaluate his behavior, and it's causing this a new romantic feeling towards you, divine feminine. So this is like really super positive. This is a really big shift. Okay, so we're going to look at some oracle cards. Okay, time to breathe out. Union with self. Sleeper. Euphoria. And criticizing one another will only lead to further unhappiness. Love and accept each other as you are, and your relationship will magically transform. So let's start here. The time to breathe out is also just underscoring this hermit energy. And look, the colors are completely the same. This deep blue wisdom. He's thinking about blue representing, you have the sodalite too, right? The communication. So he is rethinking how he talks to people, which is good. He really needs to kind of rethink that. And sometimes how somebody talks to people is also by not talking. Or, like I said, placing that burden of communication on the other person and not really stepping up. Time to breathe out is also a message to you, Divine Feminine, that if you're in separation or feeling a little ghosted, it's productive because it's giving him the space to look at himself, and that is a space that is really important and required. I'm getting. All right. The union with self, find the Nine of Cups. You know, the Nine of Cups is often representing someone who is feeling very positive and satisfied in self. But given the way that lineup came and this with underneath that, he's starting to reevaluate what that means to be in union with self. He used to be smug and arrogant, and he's starting to realize that union with self is something that is not as egoic, is not as filled with battle, and somebody wins and somebody loses, dominating the other person, having to win arguments, that there's something more quiet and more peaceful about it. The sleeper energy, he's telling you on a 5D level that he's sorry. He thinks he's sorry about it because he was asleep. This sort of behavior, this Five of Swords behavior, is the kind of behavior that comes from someone who is not spiritually awake on any level. So Spirit is also telling you, Divine Feminine, to have some compassion and understanding about where that came from. That doesn't mean you should allow somebody to be abusive to you or to not have boundaries or just take any crap from anybody. I definitely want to be clear that I'm not saying that. But in terms of a divine journey with someone, to see that is egoic behavior, and to see where it's coming from, that comes from somebody's wounds. That can come from, I'm getting the way that he learned to communicate in his family of origin, like it was always a battle. Survival of the fittest in his family of origin, and it came from an old self that is in the process of breaking apart. Because again, the Euphoria card comes right under this Knight of Cups. This is indicating a bit of an awakening, at least on the level of communication and interpersonal dynamics, which is a really good step. It doesn't necessarily indicate a final union, but this way that he's held himself in a dynamic really needed to go. He's not fully there, but the transition line is about here. Okay? This reevaluation is all in here of coming out of this really low level of awareness. This union with self card, this is something that's really deep going on inside of him, and it's really quite beautiful. He's getting a bit of an essence that he is actually, it's in this card, it's got these soft roses, that he's actually a more gentle and soft person in his authentic self than he has taken on. This is a personality that he's put on like a coat. from his mother and his father. And he's starting to realize that that's not really who he is. He's way more romantic than he's allowed himself to be. And he just needs to keep learning to put down the sword. This criticizing one another card, again, he is realizing that this behavior doesn't work. It'll only lead to further unhappiness. Love and accept each other as you are, and your relationship will magically transform. And of course, magically transform is under the Magician, which is about magical transformation. And it's about someone who now has all the tools at his disposal. Bearing in mind that he's at the beginning of that journey. He's got a renewed sense of starting fresh. Spirit is asking you, Divine Feminine, to also give up your need to criticize him, even when you're right. This is tied into actually the Kundalini Yoga workshop we're doing this Sunday, which is rather than going straight at the masculine to sort of tell him, you know, what's wrong with him and how he's doing everything incorrectly and how you know better and you're more evolved and blah, blah, blah. That's not going to work. That kind of direct instruction, training, teaching it never goes down, right? With the masculine. Love and accept each other as you are. Continue to give him the space and have a little faith that he can figure out some of this stuff on his own. Okay, he knows that he wounded you really badly. These two cards out here, this is someone who's, you know, they've got their back turned and they're just shot, and you know, this guy's got the prize, but he's not been satisfied by the winning of the arguments that he's been, you know, perceiving himself to be a winner at. He started to realize that he's the big loser. He's the big loser. And these are fresh young energies, the Knight, the Magician. So it really indicates in his mind the willingness and knowledge that he needs to and wants to have a fresh start. Okay? So this is great. This is really super great. Okay? This is someone who is seeing the error of his ways, and you don't need to manage that. You don't need to tell him how to be a better communicator or teach it to him, all right? Just let him figure it out. Let's go a little further and now see what his emotions are about the relationship. 7 of Cups. 6 of Pentacles. Knight of Wands. The Lovers. And the Empress. He's definitely feeling very sexy about you, for sure. And he knows that you're his counterpart, and he knows that you are his divine empress. He is, however, before he gets there, in this world of illusions and options. He's a little emotionally deluded about the balance of give and take in this relationship. He's not fully aware of how much more you've been giving than him. So he's got a sense of that he could take it or leave it, and that he could go in other places, but he's conflicted. He's really conflicted about it. He wants to emotionally still hold on to this idea that he could choose other women. And yet there's this tug over here, the Lovers, you know, together with the Empress. It's almost a little frightening to him how strong that energy is. So again, there's this clear line here, because over here, he wants to hold on to the idea that he could be a playboy. and just date around and it'll be okay. And not realizing how that energy throws this divine partnership off so much. Like he thinks he should just be able to do that and still have you give so much abundance and creativity to him. So this is a little disconcerting in a certain way, because I would say to be a little cautious about the way he comes back in, because he still has not really discharged some of his selfishness. He wants his cake and he wants to eat it too. He doesn't think he should have to, he doesn't feel like giving as much. And he feels like if he just gives to you sexually, that should satisfy you. He's not really emotionally yet prepared to give on the level of like divine masculine giving, like that emperor energy of those kings coming out, okay? He's still weighing things out. He doesn't really see, or emotionally, he doesn't really fully comprehend that love takes an equal commitment on both parties. He wants to stay boyish and let you be his mama a little bit emotionally. So there's an emotional immaturity here that is a little bit in contrast to this. In his mind, he's got a lot more wisdom and a lot more things figured out, but I'd say he's still holding on to some underdeveloped emotions in his body, in his emotional body. This kind of thing, Divine Feminine, I want to prepare you, because this kind of thing often takes some lower bumps in the road for a masculine to grow up out of this energy, okay? So don't be, I would just be cautious of sleeping with him again. If he comes riding in like, woohoo, just be a little cautious and watch for the signs to make sure that you don't give all of your divinity away for someone who's still not willing to give to you and has back doors open. Be patient. Be patient. Observe him. Allow him to go through these machinations. He's got a lot of, there's a conflict between the mind and the body here. I mean, the mind and the emotions. And there's a conflict between growing up and not growing up. There's a little bit of a Peter Pan energy in here on this one. All right. Let's get some more guidance for you, because this is, actually, no, we're not going to do that yet. We're going to get some clarifiers. Okay. Message from your twin. Recognition. Surrender. Your life is a canvas, artist, manifestation, creative accountability, surprised, and twin flames, your passion ignites. All right, so underpinning this game that he's got going on is in the center of his emotional body, a really strong anchoring that he's recognized that you're twin flames. This energy, this immature energy, he's bucking against it. He knows that he needs to surrender emotionally to the connection, but he's not happy about it. It has surprised him deeply. It's caught him by surprise. And this is like the gasps, the dying gasps of an immature child. So again, I will say that when a masculine is in that state, he can be very emotionally dangerous. Okay, so protect yourself. The life is a canvas. Divine Feminine, I'm going to move this card to you. This is a message for his higher self. To not get pulled in to this. This is not yours to manage, and that is just this is a little bit of a minefield, because this is somebody who's having a really big awakening, and he's trying everything in his willpower to not choose it. So for you, your life is a canvas, artist, manifestation, creative accountability. Stay in your, I want to put this in a nice place. Stay in your creative energies. Look, this is a woman. See her out on the hill with this beautiful, gorgeous horizon and these really stunning shapes of geometric designs and flowers. She is able to just go across the landscape of her life and have whatever she wants. But notice that she's alone. She's alone in that valley, able to bring forward what she wants, but this is also bringing in sort of a Nine of Pentacles energy. This probably might foretell a cycle, a continued cycle of separation a little bit. Even if you're having contact and it comes in and out, the essential energy of it, though, is still kind of separate, because he's working through these things as you are continuing to tap into your power. Don't let him knock you off that mountain with this kind of energy. This is egoic, somebody who's investing in the wrong things, wealth, prestige, just things that are not actually bringing him close to spirit. All right, random sex. He's just he's not fully there. He's not fully in the full awareness of what it takes to be with an empress. He's not on your level quite yet. He's not quite there. This is going to be a productive cycle, because it's like a purge of something that he really needs to let go of. So if you have other projects right now and other things on your plate, it would be a really good time for you to focus on them. And these colors, so pink and soft and feminine, I'm also going to say, like, spending time with girlfriends or people that really inspire you to be at your best self. If detach from this a little bit, detach from him a little bit, and even just going, now that COVID's coming out, like going, out shopping or museums, or allowing creative energies and experiences to come through. Pleasure, find inspiration in other places while he is busy growing up. Let's have some more guidance for you. Serendipity, merge with the flow. Oh yeah. I mean, that message couldn't be clearer. Okay. Spirit is telling you that this is in divine guidance. We have that number 7 coming out. And we have 2 6s, which represent love and creative. So your love is being divinely guided, and it's like 2 rivers running side by side each other, and they will eventually come together and find each other. They will. Just surrender to that flow. This is him and you just going down the water together. Let's just take a look at any blockages. What are the things that are blocking him emotionally from growing up? Relieved and embarrassed. There's something that happened to him, I'm going to say as a teenager, that caused him to feel really embarrassed about being vulnerable. And some of this playboy energy that he's taken on has been to cover that up. He feels relieved by you, by being with you, by having this connection and this, the beauty of you and the energetic support he feels from that connection. but it's overwhelmed by, like he doesn't feel he deserves it, and it feels overwhelmed by it. It makes him feel slightly embarrassed because he feels exposed. He feels exposed by it. Let's ask Spirit what his spirit guides fulfillment. He doesn't really know what fulfillment actually feels like, and that being with a woman should feel like a really deep level of fulfillment. He's still sort of treating his relationships with women like a little bit of a conquest. But this is the journey that Spirit has him on towards deeper fulfillment, and he's being guided by his spirit guides for that. So that's fulfillment. That fulfillment comes from surrender to the feminine. That is a big journey for any masculine. So again, stay in your lane, stay with the flow, fill your life with beautiful things, and let him move through these energies, and all will be well. All right, Divine Feminine. Well, thank you for stopping by, and bless you. If you found something helpful, please do hit the like button. I'd love to hear your comments. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe and hit the bell. And I hope to see you in yoga. You can visit me at my website, www.everydaygoddess1111.com, if you'd like a private reading or a karmic clearing, or to join in the yoga class. And I'll see you next time. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading. You've picked the Universal Celtic Tarot with this beautiful Celestine heart. I bet so many people are going to pick this one because of the beautiful heart. And the Celestine helps to clear the upper chakras, the crown chakra. So it helps to bring the energy of love down into the chakral system, clearing the crown, which is always a big important step in the journey of the divine masculine, for sure. So we're going to be looking today at his thoughts about you versus his feelings, how those two things can, they can operate a little differently. I want to thank everybody who's new and subscribing and hitting the like button and helping my messages and my channel to get out there a little bit more. Please do join in to this weekly reading. So let's see what's going on today. And these energies, remember, these energies can just be always shifting and moving, but we're going to tune into where things are right now. Timelines change. Things can change in a week. They can change in a year. And it really all depends on the healing of the divine feminine to get started, right? So let's see what he's thinking about this connection. The Nine of Cups, the Four of Cups, and the Ace of Cups. I'm going to start right there and get some clarifiers in a second. So the Four of Cups, is really interesting how the Four of Cups sits in the center of this, because the Four of Cups is about someone who's not really seeing what's being offered to them. They've got their eyes closed, and it sits in the middle of these beautiful energies of the Nine of Cups, which is emotional satisfaction. It's about things progressing and meeting milestones. She's pregnant in this one, which is also about creating new timelines, new moments, new milestones. So, and this Ace of Cups, which is about self-love. So he is surrounded by all these loving energies about you, the beginning of an emotional journey, this beginning of new thoughts and conceptions about love, and yet he keeps shutting it down and closing his eyes to it. But I would say right now he's pretty tormented in the head, because this is one of those relentless triggers in the mind, okay? Because there's all this beauty and all this emotional beauty penetrating the mind. This is so interesting that we went with the mind first, and yet it comes out cups, 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 which is about feelings. So he's thinking a lot about it, and it's one of those things that sort of pops up, right? See in this picture here, how this little guy, like, it just keeps coming up to the surface, like the water just keeps like bubbling up, and he's almost kind of starting to drown in it a little bit in this version of the card. These lotus flowers represent peace and beauty, and he's kind of, as my mom would say, he's sort of up to his eyeballs in it, and yet he keeps pushing it away. It's bothering him. It's relentless. It is causing sort of an inner knowing and a download to him. But boy, is he definitely having a bit of a struggle about it, okay? He's suffering a bit, Divine Feminine, on the mental plane about you. And I would, in this situation, sort of just keep at it in terms of your 3D connection with him. Because whatever you're doing, it's penetrating him. And he's thinking about his feelings for the first time in a really, really long time. And he's turning it over. Let's get some clarifiers here. We've got the Hermit and the Queen of Wands. Can you say that all there? Okay. So yeah, the Hermit is also a number 9. Progressing, things are progressing in his mind about you. But again, this is a very solitary energy in the Hermit. This kind of goes along a bit with this 4 of Cups. So he's having to spend time on his own, really hashing this out. This energy, this Queen of Wands energy, this is you. This is the queen of spirituality, that beautiful forward moving, yeah, let's do this thing, let's have it all. It's sexual energy. See all the second and third chakra energy in here. This fire that keeps coming up through his system. This queen that is completely in charge of the spiritual realms. This also can represent patience on your part, that you might not have feeling like you've been demonstrating patience, but you have been. Here she is on either side of the spread, right? This beautiful, peaceful, bucolic Madonna on one side, and this fiery sorceress. You are everything to him, and he knows in the center of this that this is going to require a fresh start and a new beginning, and that he's going to have to start taking a look at things in a new way. He's got to spend some time on his own doing that. But that's good. This is good, because the Hermit is saying that he is looking within, and he's taking the time to look within and reevaluate his connection with you. You are this little beautiful ghost in his mind, and he can fight, all he wants, but there is so much strong feminine energy entering his mind, so much love. He knows what this connection has been. Let's take a look at some oracle cards in terms of his thoughts. We've got happy. We've got wait. Don't rush into it. Allow nature to take its course. This just don't feel right. Magic. We're going to take a little look into that. And finally, from the romance deck, wedding. I'm going to start there with the wedding card. He knows that this is a very serious connection, and that to be involved with you would require going the full distance, that this is a marital connection, that this is not a woman to be toyed with, held at a distance, held at an arm's length, played with. This is a serious, serious business. You make him feel happy. This Nine of Cups, right? This satisfied feeling of satisfaction. There's, when he thinks about you, it feels warm and it feels delicious. And yet there's this hesitancy, that weight. See, it's under that Four of Cups. This is the not wanting to completely see. And it's qualified by don't rush into it. Allow nature to take its course. So this is also part of the purpose of separation. And the divine masculine is in charge in many ways of the timing. Twins go into separation because they need to sort of calibrate the energy and the triggers and everything that got pulled up and exploded up to the surface when they met. So even though in his thoughts, he has these really beautiful thoughts about you, he knows that this is really a serious connection, a serious situation. He also, as the divine masculine, has a certain wisdom about the pace of this. Now, that might be very difficult for you as the divine feminine, because you're like, why can't we just get here, right? Because the female can just sort of see and envision the future. But in the end, it is better off to let these pace through, you know, these events, these timelines to pace through at the divine pace, because it allows time for both of you to heal, to clear, to adjust, to calibrate. And that's, again, why it just doesn't feel right. He knows that this divine beginning of love is being required, but he doesn't feel he just doesn't think it's the right timing to start it yet. I'm also going to say that this card on another level is saying that this feeling of self-love that the Ace of Cups also represents, he's not comfortable with that. He's not fully moved into self-love yet. And so the pushing of the energies that are pushing the masculine into that energy, it feels uncomfortable to him. There's sort of a stripping away of the ego and a stripping away of the self that this ascension and this upgrade requires. And it's kind of like nails on a chalkboard feeling, like a scraping kind of a feeling. And he's got to take this at a certain kind of a pace, or else he'll just sort of blow out of the water again. You know, this thing could just sort of really explode. But he knows where this is going. He knows what he needs to do. Under the Hermit, we have this magic card. And it says, if you do not believe in magic, your life will not be magical. Magic, like the power of Stonehenge, is part of the unknowable. That which you cannot describe, but which exists and makes your life extraordinary. Now, this is basically saying that in this time of solitude that he's been taking, he is starting to grapple with the spiritual nature of himself. He's going through a lot of questions about 5D, is this real? Am I completely nuts? Why I think about this girl all the time. He knows that there's something bigger to the connection. He knows it's big, important, fated, destiny. And then he says in his mind, but do I really believe that? Or is this just all sorts kinds of nonsense? So as he's being upgraded, right, into self-love, his mind is sort of reeling against the spiritual nature, not just of your connection, but of life in general. Like, do I even believe in any of this sort of stuff? You know, this is a guy that, likes to play, pool in a bar, and have fun with guys and that kind of stuff. And opening this kind of woo-woo kind of stuff up to him, it's almost a little embarrassing. Like, this hermit energy, he's by himself, like he's almost afraid to tell his friends about it. But he's experienced some kind of really intense upgrade, but he is definitely struggling with that quite a bit. All right, let's get a message here from his mind. Feeling your presence. Yeah, there we go. Right? I could put this here. I could also put it there. He feels you near him all the time. But it's making him feel pretty uncomfortable, because this is even coming from the universe. I mean, this upgrade, this is between him and the divine, but it's connected to you. He wants to shut it down. He wants to pace it, you know. This is kind of a resistance here, but also a wisdom at the same time. And he needs to spend some time looking within and connecting to who he actually is to allow this to really come through, and to know that this really means what it means. Okay? So, yeah, the good news is he's thinking about it. He is certainly thinking about it. Let's take a little bit of a shift right now, my lovely ladies, and go into what's he feeling. What's he feeling about this connection, okay? Okay. So we have the Ace of Wands. Okay, the Two of Wands. Wow, a lot of spirit in here. This is funny that the feeling showed up in the mind, and the Ten of Pentacles. Well, the Ace of Wands again is a new beginning and a new perspective. And in this sense, it's a new spiritual perspective. So his emotional body is getting connected into a spiritual body, which is really, really good news. The other meaning of the Ace of Wands is that he's feeling sexy about you. He fantasizes about you. If you've been intimate in the past, he's thinking about that. If you haven't, he's thinking about that, okay? This is definitely spiritual and sexual explosion resonating through his physical body, his emotional body. This is, when that thing about he's got you on his mind, he's feeling it down below. The Two of Wands is a very decisive action, and the Ten of Pentacles is that happily ever after. So he feels a lot of beautiful depth, because this Ace of Wands is sexual, but it's not just player. It's connected to having this beautiful world. And this is such an interesting version of this, because it's a divine, it's a masculine energy that's forging coin, and it's got these funny little, beings along with him. But what that is saying in this card is that he wants to be the man. He wants to be the one to create this happy home for you. And there's a place deep inside where he's really decided that. Let's get some qualifiers. Two of Pentacles and the Strength card. So the Two of Pentacles represents choices. There is something emotionally that he is juggling to choose you. This is about making decisions. This is so interesting, because the Two of Wands is a very decisive energy, and then the Two of Pentacles is sort of like this juggling of things. So he's flipping back and forth emotionally. He's like, yes, I'm completely certain that this, but what about this other thing? Okay. Now this could represent another woman that he's been involved with, or if that does not resonate for you, it could just represent life as he's known it before. The egoic things in his life that he would need to release to move fully into this emotionally. It could just be his old triggers, or his old ways that his mind just holds on to Maya, the world as it was, his friends. Not that he has to give those things up to be with you, but the way he looks at the world to move this deeply into this kind of a depth of connection, the wedding, moving towards a marriage. Like, does he want to give up that single life? Does he want to give up that, that freedom? He's balancing a lot of that out. And yet this beautiful Strength card here, it's usually a lion. In this deck, in the Celtic deck, it's a bear, which is, bears hibernate and they rest. And then we've got this beautiful female figure here. you know, holding this apple, which is like this strong Eve kind of thing. He feels and knows emotionally that you are solid, that you are his home, that he can find deep rest and rejuvenation with you. It's a beautiful card. You know, this is love through compassion. He knows that you're compassionate. He knows that you're giving. He has all of those things. He's standing in the center of this male strength, wants to create this home. But again, this is like, you know, those little coins that you flip back and forth and the picture changes. So he's kind of flipping in and out on this quite often. All right. So it might feel a little irregular and unstable. Let's look at the oracles. Ace of Wands, separation. Goddess of prosperity, I am patient in the face of delays and obstacles. 10 of Pentacles, reckless. Secret admirer, and going forward. And I pulled another one. I am working in my purpose. Okay, so he still needs to be in separation. Time apart is on the horizon. This is, again, like the mind, he's integrating this back and forth energy that's going on between this decisive and the letting go. He needs some time on his own to bring those two energies into balance. However, he feels patient about it. He knows, I know this sounds terrible, I'm going to say he knows you're not going anywhere, and I don't mean that in the terms of you taking advantage, but he knows that that is, that the connection is eternal. So he's got a process to sort of go through. He knows that these are his own internal obstacles, and he knows that he's got the time to move through them. Okay. This reckless energy refers to the egoic nature of the things that he's letting go of. Again, this back and forth, this back and forth he has between decisive and undecisive, choosing, not choosing. It's making him feel a little wobbly, like I kind of got this like a vision of a train sort of going off the tracks. He doesn't want to be that guy. He wants to be this guy. He wants to be that strong masculine who's got these magical powers, who can create prosperity. He doesn't want to lead, no, I don't say lead you on, but he honors you, and he doesn't want to come into the connection this unstable while he's still juggling and not completely reliable. And he's not completely reliable because he's not solid enough in his self. The secret admirer, you know, it's someone has deeper feelings for you than they're letting on. So I'm going to say that this is that juggling thing. So if he's still tied to another female, don't fool yourself, okay? He still has this depth of feeling about you, even if it doesn't seem on the surface like that's true. He's got a lot, he's struggling a lot, and he's chugging around a lot, both in the mental and the emotional body around you. He's juggling this. He's got you on his mind from before. And in the end, he wants to move this thing forward. I'm going to put that right under the strength card. So this is someone who's spinning around, chewing on these things, flipping back and forth, but there is like a magnetism that is pulling him really, really forward. I'm walking in my purpose. He knows that this journey towards you is part of the divine journey of him finding out exactly who he really is. That his identity is tied to becoming more of a man, to move out of his boyish recklessness into a more of a mastery. Okay, let's look for some messages from him, from you, for you, and maybe we'll get a little guidance, huh? Okay, karma. And perfect acceptance. The perfect acceptance, he is asking you, Divine Feminine, to come into perfect acceptance as to how things are right now. This is a calling from his higher self for you. This is samadhi. Samadhi is a yogic term, a spiritual term, that means coming into that 0 point of stillness where time vanishes. You get yourself down into that 0 space in meditation, where you know that all is exactly as it is supposed to be, union with self, union with the divine. So his higher self, see, and she's wrapped up, she's deep enveloped in the natural world. His higher self is calling out to your higher self to suggest, call for you being in a very steady meditational practice where you reach samadhi. If you can do that on a daily basis, that's great. As often as you can, whether you're going through yoga nidra or what's the other oh my god, I'm just forgetting the TM, transcendental meditation. Whatever kind of meditation you do, that you find that still point where you connect down into the soul, that will help you to stay steady as he's still churning through these issues. Okay, the karma card, I mean, that is just so, clear all the time. As twins, we're here ultimately to burn off our karma and reach enlightenment. And this is just part of the path that he's having to walk on his own. And I'm putting that on top of the separation card because it's important for you to remember that in separation, that's the chance for both of you to separately burn off karma so you can come back together again. So this is also a message for any karmic work that you can be doing, chanting, clearing, to be doing that now. And that also what he's doing, what he's going through right now is part of his karma. All right, we're just gonna look at guidance for you, okay? Because this is going to require a little patience, it seems. Conclusions are within reach. Well, that's encouraging. Full moon, eclipse, and from the Starseed Oracle Death, Earth School, life's lessons, soul growth, study, and higher learning. All right, so first off, conclusions are within reach. I'm going to say that I don't think this cycle is brutally long for him and for you. And that can mean anything, but whatever cycle this is in, you're going to be concluding this cycle and then starting a new one. I don't know what that will look like. Is it full union or is it just another cycle? But whatever this thing is that he's going through and whatever you're needing to go through, this is coming around kind of soon. And with the full moon and eclipse, I got this hit that you might see some kind of fundamental shift during eclipse season, which is coming up in the beginning of the summer around solstice. You might want to check dates in there. The full moon eclipse, as we go into that season, a lot of this mental, I don't want to say confusion. He's not got confusion. It's more that juggling. It's almost like a tension of opposites pressing against each other. And something's going to kind of chunk out and clear out about that for him. For you, Divine Feminine, this going down into samadhi to clear out your karma, stay diligent with this so that you can come to the same sort of cyclical conclusion on your side as he's coming out with his mental struggles on yours. Here we have Earth School, life lessons, soul growth, right, which is karma, study, and higher learning. So you're also being asked to make a little bit more of, I would almost say, an academic study about karma. Do a little bit more research here. There are Vedic chants. You can come see me. I do karmic clearings. There's Kundalini yoga, clears karma. You can go visit Return to One Souls on the Skio and Clear Karma. There's so many different ways. There are chants on YouTube, right, that clear karma. Start making a little bit of research about what that means. Look into Buddhism, look into Hinduism, and all the great teachings around karma, and learn about it. You are actually being called to sort of master the lessons about karma, because you, Divine Feminine, if you pick this pile, I'm getting a hit that part of your mission is to not just be transmuting your own karma in your connection, but to support others in doing the same, to teach people inside the Twin Flame community, Soul Ascended Soul community, but even outside that, to support people in transmuting that karma. So this is what your work is right now, and finding that stillness so you really are able to dig deep and find the truth of these spiritual truths as he's, you know, going through his like little mashugana. But that will also help him to start move towards purpose as well. Okay, wow, that was really exciting. I would say in a conclusive statement, the struggles and conflicts and triggers here don't seem severe or intense. It seems like you've moved through a lot, and now there's just sort of more kind of layers of him sort of settling into the energy that you've opened up for him. So good work. Okay, I'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by. If you found this helpful, please do leave me a comment. Hit that like button and the bell. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Love to have you here every week. Okay, I'll talk to you soon, Pile 2. Hey there, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading. You have chosen the Mermaid Tarot with this stone called a dioptase, which is one of my very favorite stones. It's a very powerful higher heart healer. It's very good for healing grief, betrayal, feelings of abandonment. So if you're having a lot of heartache, this is a really fantastic stone for you to have chosen and to work with. So we're going to be looking at his thoughts versus his feelings towards you at this time. Always bear in mind that when we read these energies, they can be so transient, they can shift, they can change. Also want to remind you guys that a week from Sunday, April 25th, I'm having a Kundalini Yoga workshop for Divine Feminines, Twin Flames. We're going to be learning a very sacred Kundalini chant to heal the masculine energy through his divine guidance, so you can release it a little bit and get to your own business, okay? So let's see. What are his thoughts about you at this time? The Ten of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles, the Nine of Swords, the Two of Wands, and the Ace of Wands. So this divine masculine knows that you are marriage material, and he admires your ability to manifest and be in charge of your own world. The Queen of Pentacles is a feminine energy that has patience and fullness. She is able to see, she's pulling this coin out of the ethers. You've got your stuff together, Divine Feminine. And it actually might be a little intimidating for him, quite frankly. But he knows that this is an earth realm relationship. This is not somebody to be kind of, you know, messed with and tossed away. He sees you as his happy home. See, this Ten of Pentacles is this happy family around a feast. There are ancestors in the background, which also tells us that he has a feeling of family around you. He knows that you are part of his soul family, that there's a history here, deep emotional bonds. This is the Mermaid Tarot, so it's very deep inside the water. Some of these ancestors here are not with us anymore. There are ancestral ties between the two of you. There are karmic ties between the two of you. And then it comes into this beautiful, clear focus in the future. So he's aware of the past and what's available in the present with you. And he thinks you're all that. He's in awe of you. But it causes him a tremendous amount of sleepless nights and heartache. He's tormented by this. And mainly because he doesn't really feel up to snuff. You're so powerful, and he feels like this kind of crazy person. Look at this beautiful home, coin, pentacles, manifestation. You're able to really have prosperity. And he's alone in a tent, surrounded, right, by these swords. This is somebody who's really trapped in his own mind. This sea mermaid in this one, she's kind of coming up from the depths, sort of clawing at him. He just doesn't know how he's gonna be able to step up and be your guy. You know, he feels very, very small compared to you. But this draw of this Ten of Pentacles is very powerful for him. He knows that he's got to move in that direction. And the good news is he's very decisive about it. He sees into the distance look at this volcano going, right? This sort of like explosive, fiery energy. And it's followed by the Ace of Wands, which is a new start. It's a new start. It's looking at things from a new perspective. And it's also a very fiery, passionate, sexual energy. Both of the wands are. It's spiritual connection, sexual connection. The Ace of Wands, it's very phallic kind of symbol. And look at it kind of sitting in this vaginal opening. So this guy is definitely fantasizing about you sexually, for sure. And he knows that he's got to get across this ocean. This is a journey that he needs to take to get to that mountain. It's in the distance. And there's kind of he's got his hands on these stones. Like there's a determination to cross this distance, and knows there's not a lot out there really helping him. He's got to face getting into a more prosperous and powerful position without leaning on anybody else for the first time. He's starting to realize like he's got this hands on the rock, like he's got to be the master of things, but he's been leaning on others a lot, too much, really. And it's time for him to face himself in the mirror. These are the times in life where you realize that it's you. You know, you're the one who's going to have to make it happen. You're going to have to cross that ocean, get up that mountain, because there's something explosive coming. And if he doesn't achieve it, he could miss the boat. You know, he could just sort of miss out on it. And he's really super aware of that. So that's good, because he's feeling a little bit more inspired, you know, to cross that ocean, right? Two Wands, he's determined to do it, but he's suffering. He's gonna have to face some inner demons. Let's get some oracles. Maximus, how can you feed others when your own table is empty? Wow, that is so amazing. So again, see, look at this full table. And this, I'm going to stop with that for a second. I'm going to stop with these oracle cards, because this is just, man, you can't make this stuff up. So here's what he thinks of you, right? This beautiful, full, abundant table. And look at him. He's got an empty table. There's no food. There's nothing on the plates. And there's just moss here to the flame. There's not even no lampshades on the lamps. He has nothing to give you right now. And if you're in separation, that's just something that you want to look at him with compassion and some respect, because there's a level where it is actually very manly for the masculine to know that he can't come in like a pauper and a beggar. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about spirit. I'm talking about matching you emotionally, spiritually, your ascension level. He's going to have to cross this distance and get there before he can come in. And this is work that he needs to do on his own. He needs to pull it together. You know, he doesn't want to come in and dump anything on you and be your problem. He doesn't want to take advantage of you. And that's good, because a lot of masculines will. Freedom. There is nothing stopping you. The path is clear if you want it to be. Okay, I'm actually going to move this to here. All right, so there's nothing stopping him. He knows at this point that the only thing that's in his way is himself. This is a masculine who's been in the past making a lot of excuses about why he couldn't pull himself together. And there's been a clarity. See the clear sky up there? And it's in the Amrit Vela. So he's received some spiritual messages and downloads that have created clarity of mind, where he realized that all this BS that he's been selling about what his limitations were just that. They were really just limitations. Infinite possibilities. The unicorn, you are the sovereign of the seen and unseen worlds. The magic of love surrounds you. Beauty transforms you. Listen to the spirits of light, abandon the darkness, go beyond the ordinary, and become the legendary. Well, this message just keeps repeating itself, Divine Feminine, of where he's realizing he's starting to actually have a more spiritual view of what abundance is. He's getting out of those 3D excuses and realizing that all prosperity, whether it's coin or just having that flow and things going right in your life, ultimately comes from the unseen world, that he is actually the sovereign of his own destiny. And listening to the spirits of light, beauty transforming you, he's starting to, he's having a bit of a wobble because he still feels, see this abandon the darkness? He's got this darkness plaguing him, but he's coming into this back and forth awareness that this, staying in this, is not going to get him over here. All right, that he's got a choice to make. And the number 2 is also about decisions and choices. He can cross that ocean or he can be plagued by it. And it really is his awareness. And he's starting to realize that that choice and that awareness comes from within. So this is very powerful. Let's talk about this 9 of Swords. What's going on in there? Avoidant. Okay. So this is where he's been. This is a highly avoidant divine masculine. And he's been avoiding facing his truth, facing his power, facing communication with you. This is also, I'm getting a message for you to not really be taking it personally, his abandonment. And this is interesting because we had this dioptase, right? Which was the, I'm going to put that on there for his healing, which is about abandonment, healing abandonment issues. So this masculine has abandoned you in many, many ways, emotionally, physically, perhaps. He's taken off maybe more than once. But message is also telling you that that this is kind of how he's been built. But he's coming around into this awareness of what he's manifested out of that behavior. He's starting to understand his avoidance. It's just a little crack of awareness. It's not huge, but it has, I'm seeing like a little bit of crack of light coming through something, where he's starting to realize that this is the behavior that's kind of stopped him from this infinite possibilities. Because you know what? You can't really be an avoidant person and be a big manifester, you know, coming from the unseen worlds, because avoidant people are not moving into their deepest fears. If you don't move through your deepest fears and start to realize how ephemeral they are, then you really don't get to that place where you're in a high vibration, and manifestation comes from that. This last line down here, go beyond the ordinary and become the legendary. Again, you can't become legendary if you're avoidant. And so there's this tension and this interplay between concepts and perceptions of how the world actually runs. And he's just coming around the corner on this. New moon and beginnings. I'm telling you, man, you can't make that stuff up. Right underneath the new beginnings card, Ace of Wands. Okay, so this, by the way, as we're today, I'm taping this, we're coming into the new moon in Aries. And the new moon in Aries, I was just reading this on, if any of you guys watch K-Moon, the astrological new moon, the first one in the masculine sign for the new year. So this is a major fresh start, a fresh cycle of awareness. He's going, both of these, look at this. They're both portals. He's moving through a spiritual portal. He's moving through an earth portal. He's finding some peace within himself. The divine feminine here, represented by the full moon up in the corner. He's got the new moon energy of a new start, moving towards that fullness of the divine feminine. So in both things, we have these feminine symbols here. We've got the full moon, and we have this deep, fiery vaginal symbol here with the moon in the center as well. So this is a sign that if you're twins, that the energy, the twin energy, it's sort of like the reverse of when cells break apart. It's like they're coming back together. And this is the beginning of almost a fusion, at least on the 5D. I know that there's his thoughts, but this is where his mind is at. He's starting to turn the corner and realize that you are this abundant manifester, that you sort of have this key to the spiritual kingdom in a way that he didn't really understand before. Before, he just felt like an intimidated loser. And he ran from that all the time. But now he's starting to realize that if he wants to match that energy in you, and if he wants to move into that divine feminine, that he's got to start taking some responsibility for his own stuff, his mental games. These are mental games. This guy's been a real mental player, not a physical player. I don't see a lot of cheating, but just getting wrapped up in his head and, you know, just being bound mentally and a little self-pitying at times as well. But it's clearing. See, it's like, it's clearing. This is you, this is his stuff, and then it's opening up. But these are beginnings, okay? Ace of Wands, it's just the start. Those ideas are opening up. New moon, it's just the start. So I wouldn't necessarily anticipate some grand action, but just know that something is shifting here for sure. Okay, that's in the mind. So that's good, because at least he's thinking about it. And, you know, masculines like to think things through, right? They like to think it through before they take action. A lot of them do. So it's a good start. Let's see how he's feeling. Let's see what's going on in his feelings. Usually, you know, the thoughts are all blocked and the feelings are underneath, but let's see what's happening here. How's he doing emotionally about you? Ace of Swords. Two of Swords. Ten of Wands. Seven of Swords. And Seven of Wands. Okay, so emotionally, he's having a much more difficult time, okay? He definitely has come into an emotional truth. He's starting to feel that emotional truth, but right away the two comes in, which is a battle. And this card, usually there's the Two of Swords is blindfolded, you know, they're not seeing, not refusing to make a decision. In this deck, there's also the sense of battling with the self, and these two masculines are him battling against himself. So emotion, there's more emotional resistance that's coming up. So he's thinking things clearly through about you, but it's causing some really kind of dark emotional issues to surface for him. Now the Ten of Wands represents a burden. Like he's carrying some really deep, heavy burdens about women in general. And he feels defensive. Got a lot of sense. Gosh. He's okay. So emotionally, this guy's like super blocked. He's feeling defensive. He's feeling like sneaking away from this. He wants to bolt emotionally. It's lucky that the mind has been really clear, okay? Because there's a certain sense of knowing. You know, once you know something, you can't unknow it. And that's the good news to anchor this guy, because what's come up for him emotionally is dark, heavy, and complicated, okay? He doesn't want to see it. He's fighting himself. He does not want to make a decision about this on the emotional body. He feels really burdened. And these burdens are connected to not just you, but this is the burdens of past lives, all the burdens connected to relationship in this life. He's just really struggling, because as he starts to move through that divine feminine energy, this is like all his triggers around women coming up to the surface, and just knowing what he would have to carry and what he would need to clear emotionally to get to you. This guy has sort of run off and fled the coop a little bit. So this is somebody who, yeah, he wants to take off, and he's feeling really defensive. This again, see, we have this, usually you can't see who these are, but he just feels trapped, and like all this energy is coming at him, and it's freaked him out. These are the wands too. These are spiritual wands. The spiritual message is coming at him, and he's super triggered by all of it. He's having a really hard time dealing with the emotions that are coming up by this awareness that's come into his mind. Let's have some card. Okay, wedding. This situation involves marriage. Hearing your voice. The Ancient Ones. Opportunity. And envy. All right, so one of the reasons he's bolting, again, it's marriage. Before, remember the Ten of Cups came out, and I said he knows it's your marriage material. Okay, that scares the bejesus out of this guy. All right, and that's why he's feeling like entrapped and he wants to run away emotionally. He doesn't feel ready for that. He's freaked out about it. It's like he feels cornered, and that's not from anything you're doing. And if you are, back it up, all right? But I don't think so. I think that's just his mechanism of, he's got commitment issues. He's got just a lot of fear around this. He may have been married before. It's just this kind of sense of he might not know your twin flames, but that ancestral, the ancestors, the family connection, like he knows that this is right, and he's bucking against that. And he's hearing your voice. So he's also starting to have some fifth dimensional ESP connections with you, all right? And it's driving him bonkers, all right? He's fighting that, and he feels burdened by it. He is having those synchronicities and literally hearing you. He hears you in his head, and he's, it's flipping him out. So you could definitely spend some time grounding and protecting him. Asking his guides to ground and protect him would be really, really good, because something is opening in the third eye, and he's starting to have those psychic connections with you. And he's like, this is too woo-woo for me. He is being guided, though, by his ancestors again. All right. So this burden that he's carrying, just know that his ancestors are there to help him carry that burden. And it might be a good idea, Divine Feminine, to meditate and connect with his ancestors and your ancestors, both literal and spiritual, and ask for help for him to carry that burden, to get to release that sense of him. Clearing old karmas would be good for him. Clearing old ancestral curses and wounds. This is a lot of stuff he's bringing. He's bringing this from the netherworld. See all this darkness in the background? This is dark, dark sludge. So SRTs are good for him. This is all the lifetimes of clearing that are coming forward. And the divine beings are by him. I'm not sure if he's aware of that. I'm going to pull a clarifier on that to see. Is he aware of that? Five of Swords. Absolutely not. He has no idea that that's there. So, you know, you just might want to spend some time. Like he feels like he's in a battle. All right. This is just, he feels wounded and in the ice water, and he's just, everything is just a disaster. He's been cut. He's, you know, in a state of feeling like he's just in a brutal, conflicted fight with himself. Sorrow and pain. So he's not really emotionally aware of this beautiful energy. So whatever processes you can do on the 5D to sort of bring this in and ask them to clear this out for him would be really, really important. He feels sort of embattled by the universe. These are, you know, these are such conflicting things here too, because the Seven of Swords, this wanting to run off, and he gets the opportunity card. He doesn't really emotionally see the opportunity that is here for him to grow from this. All right, there's this cold, icy conflict going on emotionally, and underneath this is all this beautiful support. If he could see that when darkness comes forward, or when fears come forward, like wanting to run away from something, that it's actually an opportunity to heal. And I'm not really clear or certain that he's seeing that. I mean, I am clear that he's not seeing that. This defensive energy here too, by this envy, he is still in a very childish state emotionally, where he envies the freedom of other guys, like that bachelor life. Like he's got that sense that other guys have it better than he does. A lot of ego and competition. He's got issues about freedom versus commitment. Like, and a lot of masculines go through this at some point in their lives, but his is really intensely, darkly connected to old lifetimes. It's not an easy transition for him to make. These cards down here, there's a lot of yellow down here, as well as this beautiful blue, but there's a lot of lower chakral energy in here and some divine wisdom. And divine feminine, I'm going to say that that this could be an opportunity for you to do some really supportive 5D healing. I don't think he's going to get his way out of this without some support. Because he's frozen in ice in a lot of it. So, snoop around to some healing modalities, meditate, get in touch with your guides, ask for support, any processes that you do to send that energy, and send it with the utmost love and compassion for where he's at. If you've been kind of looking at him and judging him, or oh, that big idiot, or having really harsh words, and it's just time to let go of the anger for all the things he's done or said, and I'm sure he's done them. But get into that space of unconditional love and send that healing over to him. So especially if he's your twin, you're here to help unlock him. All right? Whether he comes through next week, 2 months, 2 years, 2 decades, that's the journey. There's so much healing here that is required. So good luck with that, and thanks for stopping by. I hope that's helpful. I hope that helps you to kind of focus on what needs to happen in this next phase, all right? And this new moon in Aries, take advantage of it, all right? Take advantage of the shift for him, because he could really break through it, all right? But he definitely needs your support. All right, thanks for coming, and I'll see you guys next time. Hey, Pile 4, welcome to your reading. You've chosen the Spirit Song Tarot, which I love. It's got all these beautiful animal guides, and a tourmalinated quartz. Now, tourmalinated quartz helps to change negative into positive thinking, and it also helps to clear the shadow self. So if that resonates for you, that's a beautiful stone to have. We'll just set it over here for right now. And as we're shuffling, just want to remind you guys that this coming Sunday, April 25th, we're going to have a Kundalini yoga workshop online. I'm going to be teaching a very special chant to turn your divine masculine's healing over to the divine energy, to build a bridge, heal your relationships with the masculine energies in general, fathers, brothers, sons, past lives, the whole kit and caboodle. So you can find my website in the comments. Come join us. Okay, today we're working on what's he thinking versus what's he feeling about you and this connection. So let's start with his thoughts. The Knight of Shells. Charm and passion. The Queen of Acorns. Passion and creativity. The Sun. The Four of Shells. And the Page of Acorns. Okay, so coming out with the Knight of Shells, that is the Knight of Cups. So he, in his mind, he is feeling a lot of renewed romance towards you, Divine Feminine. And those of you who follow me regularly know I don't mince words or sugarcoat stuff, but that's a really positive start. And the Queen of Acorns is that's the Queen of Fire. He sees you as a divine, spiritual, sexy, fantastic female who has got patience and is very settled in herself. So he's got really positive thoughts about you. We've got the Sun coming out, vitality and joy and healing. He feels, I'm saying feeling, but he thinks of you as a healing presence in his life. He sees you as the sun, somebody who nurtures him, that your energy causes him to grow. The Four of Shells coming out right away. In the traditional tarot deck, that is a card of not really seeing what's being offered all the time. But in this sense, it's saying that he's doing some soul searching. Oops, sorry, that was a little bit of a spill, but I'm going to go on. Usually I'd stop, but I'm going to go on here because this is such a positive grouping that I'm just going to kind of roll with this one a bit, because he's starting to really deeply reevaluate his relationship to you. In this card, he is seeing, this is kind of an energy of moving through the traditional Four of Cups, which is, I'm not really seeing what's being offered. But in this deck, he's moving through that energy and rethinking you. It's like, why did I leave this? Why? What was I thinking? What was I doing? She's amazing. She heals me by her presence. She's spiritually divine. It's causing a romantic renewal, and it's also causing a new direction. The Page of Acorns is a new spiritual changing of course, discovery, and enthusiasm. Okay, it can be a little bit of a player energy, but with these other energies coming out, it's not so bad, right? It's the sexy energy that he's feeling, a youthful reconsidering of his emotions and his sexual attraction to you and his spiritual attraction to you. So there's a lot of renewal in here. This is a divine masculine who's come into a new level of awareness about this connection. So if you've picked this pile, there's a lot of positive movement forward here. He's rethinking this for sure. Okay, let's get some clarifiers. It's not lots more to say. I mean, we will say more, but this is good stuff. Okay, Knight of Shells, all tied up. Honey, he wants to tie you up. You know, this came out in the other deck. I can't believe out of all these cards. And it's interesting because in one of the other piles, it came out as being another woman, but this one is about you. This came under charm and passion. And look at this coquettish woman. In this pile, this is you. He is having sexy thoughts about you in this one. The other one, it was kind of about cheating with other people, but that charm and passion, that's how he's seeing you. So he's seeing you in the full spectrum of divine feminine energy. He's seeing you in this coquettish energy, and he's also seeing you as this masterful female, a queen energy and the sun energy. So he's getting the full spectrum of who you are. Okay, Queen of Acorns, relaxation. The sun, we have assessing, which is interesting because we had this came up before too. This is coming up. These two cards came up and I shuffled these. I really did. Four of Shells, the Seer, and Dolphin under the Page of Acorns. So let's go over here. Divine Feminine. This is so similar to the other deck, but he is seeing you as someone who's deeply relaxed and unto herself. You're doing a really good job in this pile, okay? You've been able to pull yourself back and detach and spending quiet time. And it's interesting because in the other pile, this came up in a different position and the message was to do that. You've done it. And he sees that in you. This has kind of got a Nine of Pentacles energy around it. This is like a woman who's like super taking care of herself. She knows how to nurture herself. She knows how to be in the fullness of her own being. She knows how to pleasure herself. She knows how to take time and sit in nature. So he knows at this point that you don't need him. You'd like to be with him, but you don't have to have it. And it's giving him the space to rethink. And you've earned that space, Divine Feminine. You've given him the necessary space. You've pulled your energy back in a healthy way, not in putting walls up. So I applaud you. You haven't just been like, oh, F him. You've just been sitting in your divine energy, and it's created this shift in him. Assessing coming underneath the sun is just underlying that energy, honestly. He is relooking, again, soul searching, reevaluation, reassessing that you are the healing center of his universe. He's starting to realize that he absorbs an energy out and about in the plane, in the collective consciousness, and he's starting to realize how much of that actually comes from you in his life, and that is really, really powerful. Having the seer under soul searching is really quite powerful. This is indicating that this divine masculine is becoming masterful at looking at himself. He's starting to become able to look within. And this is new for him. This is a significant shift. There's been a real breakthrough on his part from not looking and not wanting to see and having his eyes covered. Again, we're moving out of the traditional Four of Cups into this, and it's saying that he has becoming a mystical seer. He's also starting to have psychic experiences. He's starting to get like downloads, visions, mystical experiences. This is a male energy, this seer, a shamanic energy, and this is also saying that this is who he's becoming because of your healing presence. And this isn't just his perception, this is a reality. He's starting to upgrade into his spiritual reality and his power and his mission and his dharma. And he knows that that's coming from you. So that is super amazing. This page of acorns, this kind of sexy, enthusiastic energy. Dolphins at play, swim in the happy joy of living. Inhale confidence and exhale fear. Dive into your wisdom and go with the flow. So he has released some fears surrounding you. So some of that twin triggering that's come up around you in the past, he's letting go of it. He's starting to realize that he can be playful with you, that he doesn't have to create such walls and defenses around himself. So that is really super, super, super exciting. Let's go ahead and look into, I'm going to actually push these back because his thoughts are so positive where he's at mentally with you. And I think that's also clear. So I'm just going to push all that back. I know some of that's going to go out of frame for you, but I'm going to keep it there for my own reference a little bit as we look at his emotions. Okay. Let's see if this is all dropping in and connecting. The world. He thinks the world of you. You are his world. Fulfillment, celebration. Two of shells. Union and harmony. That's the Two of Cups. That's new romance, new couples. Three of shells. Celebration, playfulness. Nine of feathers, perspective and self-empowerment, and the King of Acorns. Okay, so amazing. Just absolutely amazing. He is having a huge emotional shift. And the Nine of Feathers is usually the Nine of Swords, right? And traditionally, that is about a sleepless and anxiety nights. But in this deck, he has created or received a perspective about that, all right? Since you picked this deck, and remember, this was about this terminated quartz, which is about turning negative thinking into positive thinking. I'm going to put that stone here because in this deck, even though he's been braced against you, he's getting a new perspective about it. And he's, by the self-empowerment card, it's saying that he's realizing that he's not a victim of whatever triggers have come up before around you, that he can stand in his own truth and he can stand in his own power, and he can own his own triggers and not park them at your feet. And this awareness, I mean, I don't even know where to start here because this is also positive. Okay, this awareness is allowing him to become the king of fire. The king of fire, the acorns. And I know this went out of shot, but look, the queen and the king of acorns, spirituality, have come out together. All right, so this is a high level of spiritual and also sexual passion. The female embodying passion and creativity, the king embodying optimism and innovation, which also means like new. And this stag, right? This horse and the doe. So the beautiful balance of the male and the female energies. So he's realizing that these experiences of feeling, freaked out, that they're his and they're not yours. You didn't cause it. They're his to manage. Going back here, just to reiterate, the world, which is peace and harmony and balance, fulfillment, romance. This is union. I mean, this just says it right here. Union and harmony. He feels so good about you. Three of shells, this playfulness, right, came out again. So this word playfulness is here. Okay, play. He's really wanting to have some good times with you, to go out, to share, shared experiences. Now we're coming out of COVID, go out, concerts, play games, any kind of engagement with you. He's really feeling that pull towards you. And dolphins also, it's funny because look at this. You have dolphin energy twice here, divine feminine. So this is a power animal right now for you. I would also say spirit is calling you to meditate on dolphin energy. So when you do your own daily meditations, go into this energy. If you live by a beach, you can do this by the beach as well, and call into the dolphin energy and see what messages there are for you here. And look at this. Both of these cards have 3 dolphins at play. Okay. In this context, this means that he considers you a friend as well as a lover, not instead of, because you get the 2 of shell, you get both romance and friendship. But this friendship card and playfulness card coming out twice is really powerful because it means that underneath that all, that bond of I can depend on her, I can lean on her in a positive way, not codependent way, right? I know that she's going to be there for me. And you've achieved that as well through this relaxation card. You've let him know that you are a rock in his life or shell, right? That you're not going anywhere, and not in a doormat kind of way, in this really ascended kind of way, your beauty and your power. And he knows that he can rely on that. And this awareness, the shifted awareness of his 9 of feathers, of him being able to own his own anxiety, that's been causing him to be able to look at the relationship anew in there. So if you're not in relationship with him right now, I would take heart, because he is seriously starting to have a renewed sense around you and a renewed sense of what this relationship can be. Let's just look for some guidance for you. I mean, this is also positive. It's just so clear. It's like boom, 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 boom. Let's see the guidance that's coming through for you right now about sort of how to handle such a positive shift, right? So let's look a little bit here. Expect powerful change. Okay, it's just coming out, right? It's just coming out. So be aware of negative thinking and make sure you dispel it, okay? You might have been in such a negative headspace about this thing for so long that it might feel a little scary. But this is a new moon eclipse. This is really underscoring this whole thing. And you might look at the new moon eclipse, the actual, take that literally, the new moon eclipse season. When the eclipse start to come in, go ahead and look on the calendar, because there's a very good possible chance that you might see some real action come out on that astrological turn. Loosen your grip, coping mechanisms, density, addiction, let God in. Let God in. Let this positive thing in. So yeah, that's why I kind of went here, because I was wondering if maybe all this good news would sort of sometimes we can get kind of freaked out by winning, right? We can get kind of freaked out by or like a fear, like, can this really happen? Can I really allow myself to have this? So be aware of falling into patterns, addictive patterns, even watching too many readings, like as I sit here reading for you. But watch your food, watch your alcohol, watch overworking, okay? This loosen your grip. Let's put this over by this relaxation. You've achieved this ability to be this person, so really be diligent about staying. I'm gonna pull this down again. Staying in that energy of rest, relaxation, self-care, following your joy, following your bliss. All right. This is such a big shift on his side that the energy might come kind of rolling across. It's like, you know, when there's a solar flare or Schumann resonance, it runs, and it's like, oh, it's almost like so much energy that you can get yourself kind of freaked out. So that's not a really dark, dire warning, but it's just kind of, you know, just be aware of that. Okay. Let's just see for you, because, you know, he's doing good. He's doing good. So let's just look a little deeper and see if there's some messages here from the emotional intelligence cards. Just stuff for you to be dealing or looking forward to. Projection and trapped. Okay, so that's really interesting. So if you're having some negative feelings coming up, this is actually about like slightly going into runner energy. Be cautious that you're not projecting your own fears and your own runner energy onto him. Okay? As you have these coping mechanisms and these addictive tendencies come up, and they could be even mental addictions, make sure that you own that they are yours. All right? Try not to say like, that must be him. Okay? And don't spend a lot of time analyzing him at that point. This trapped energy, this is in the zone of be careful what you ask for. Okay, sometimes we think we want something, and then when it starts to come, it's like, oh my God, do I really want that? I feel stuck by it. Okay, so take care of your masculine energies, your own masculine energies. Watch how those little inner masculine triggers sort of get going. Okay, you've been very open, you've been patient. Okay, you've been vulnerable. Queen of Acorns, right? You've been spiritually patient. You found that thing. Watch your inner masculine rearing its ugly head. This is like toxic masculine energy, you know, coming up for you. And so make sure you don't put it on his plate. Okay, spend some time balancing out your feminine and masculine energies for sure. Okay, that's the next little step for you to be working on and coming into balance, because when the masculine shifts that much, just be aware, it's going to trigger you, or it might. Okay, so pay attention to that. We've got this negative thoughts, right? Changing negative thoughts to positive. Just be really mindful of what comes up for you in your mind. In terms of manifesting, like negative thoughts about manifesting and receiving, okay, and what it actually means to be in an intimate relationship. You might have felt like, oh, I'm so open and ready for this, but I don't know. I think you might want to be a little bit more onto yourself there, okay, and take a look at some of those inner fears and inner thoughts. Okay, I hope that's helpful. And if it was, please do hit the like button, leave me a comment. I would love you to subscribe and join me here every week. This is just such a pleasure and a joy to read for you guys. And I hope you'll join me in yoga this week as well. Okay, I'll see you next week. Well, hello, Pile 5. You have chosen the Ethereal Visions Tarot with this beautiful amethyst point. Gosh, I've had this for so long. This is a beautiful shamanic crystal that I received years ago. And amethyst, of course, is for the sixth chakra, all right, your intuitive eye. So yeah, let's put that over here. So today we're going to be looking at what are his thoughts versus his feelings about this connection at the current time. We'll be looking for guidance for you and using this kind of a reading to locate what kind of energies can be shifted and addressed on your side as well, okay? All right, so let's take a little look. Okay, this thought, we've got Temperance, King of Swords, and the Empress. We're going to start there and clarify a little bit. Okay, so Temperance, in his thoughts, he's taking a bit of a pause in this connection. All right, he's thinking about coming into some kind of a balance. He feels the need, like he needs to get things between the two of you in a little bit of a balance, and he's very cautious at this time. He needs to take a little bit of a break because he's starting to have some real awareness of truths around this connection. He's having a lot of like downloads of knowledge come through in the mental body, and he's starting to see some fundamental truths. And it's about the fact that you are his divine feminine, that you are the Empress. He's thinking more creatively about that. He's seeing your power, but it's actually kind of stopping him a little bit dead in his tracks. It's an intense amount of energy coming towards him, and he's feeling a little overwhelmed by it. Okay, so he's downshifting. Okay, but it's not because he's unaware or running or avoiding it. It's because he's starting to think through this a little bit more and having new creative thoughts about who you are, the intensity, the beauty, the connection, the beauty of you. And he's taken a time out to really think about it and let that truth come through. Let's clarify a little bit. The Five of Wands. Can you see these all? And the Six of Wands. So he's backpedaling a little bit. This intense amount of truth and awareness that's coming through, he's resisting it in a certain way and wants to go back to his game playing and his buddies and life as he used to know it. Okay, he's having a hard time completely surrendering to the level of divine masculine energy that he's being called to embody. All right, we see that King coming out. He knows this is where he needs to get to, but it's like those last minutes of giving up an addiction. Not an addiction, but just his shallowness, his boyishness. It's almost that like thing that guys go through where they're like, but I want my freedom. He's still seeing it as a little bit of a choice between those two things. And it's a blip, though. It's nothing to get overly concerned with, because that Six of Wands energy is that victory in love, okay? And that energy of persevering through love. Okay, the 6 is a really positive sign for that to show up in the front of the lineup. And notice it's like he's got this really high level of masculine energy that comes through. He knows that this is the truth. He wants to revert to his boyishness, but then he up levels a little bit. It sort of comes into a little bit of a balance where he's still in that sort of young knight energy coming forward. And the horse is in this version of the 6 of Wands. The horse and the man, the youthful man, are facing forward and coming straight forward. So this is definitely a progression towards this energy. It's just that little bit of hanging on of just feeling like he doesn't want to have to give up, the things that he feels are part of his boyish nature. And honestly, I think it's just coming into an awareness that he has to realize that he doesn't have to give those things up. So anything that you can communicate, if you are in communication in that way of like being connected, when a man is connected to the divine empress, when that empress is healthy, unattached, and has released her codependency, the male doesn't have to give up his games and his guys and his freedom. So this is a calling to you, divine feminine, also to be in that empress energy. All right. And not be in that energy of claws, like you got to get your claws in and control him and make him behave in a certain way and take things away from him. And so just make sure that, especially if you're in separation, that you are continuing to let go of those codependent attachments that often cause the masculine to feel that, or to think that being with a female means giving up his guy time or his vitality or his youth. If that balance can happen between these ascended and divine energies, then he will come forward. All right, let's get some clarifiers here. That's a really clear message for you as well. You have a place in that awareness, that truth that needs to come forward, okay? That this isn't a punishment. To be with the woman is not a punishment, and giving up that up. That's what's also causing him to pause. He's like, I see I need to go there, but am I ready? Am I ready to give up myself? He needs to know that he doesn't have to give up himself to be with a woman. This is about the new templates of love. That love is not possession. It's not ownership. It's not controlling the other, but it's two people coexisting with their own freedom and energies. The Empress is completely free inside her own energies, right? She's not enslaved, right? If the female's not going to be enslaved, then the masculine has to, the new template is about learning how to be in relationship without being trapped. All right, that is an old template that needs to go away. Let's get some clarifiers for temperance, resistance. Yeah, that's causing the pause. The King of Swords, samadhi, perfect acceptance. You can't make this stuff up. Okay, the Empress, potential. 5 of Wands, the 2nd chakra, and the 6 of Wands by the Archangel Daniel. All right, so the Temperance card, qualified resistance. This is what's causing him to stop and pause, okay? He is worried. See, this is grasping on too hard. He's worried that if he surrenders into this connection, that you're going to grab him by the you-know-whats, okay? That you're going to be over-controlling, that you're going to choke the life out of him. If you have any patterns around this in this connection, this is time for you to really clear this out. This message is coming really, really through. This is what? The female hand. See that? Choking the life out of that plant. So this is shadow work for you. This is childhood trauma. This is codependency. This is you learning to let go and finding strength and stability and vulnerability and your own freedom. Because this is what's got him stopping dead in his tracks. And you know what? I don't blame him. Okay? Nobody wants to be treated like that. Okay, so even if this is energetic, you might be saying, I never said that, I never did that. But if it's energetic, you need to really tell the truth about that, Divine Feminine. Okay? You can't make a man stay through controlling him. It just doesn't work that way. This is really about surrendering to the masculine energies and letting them float in and float out, and you get that way by staying in your own power. This truth is qualified by samadhi and perfect acceptance. Samadhi is that perfect state of peace. It's that place we find in meditation where we get to complete stillness. And this is very powerful coming through for him, because this is what's causing him to have these truths come out. He is actually having moments of spiritual stillness and awareness where deeper messages are coming through. So this is a masculine in transition. You might not know that this is going on with him, because it might be coming through for him in different ways, like walking in nature or even in sport, or this time of great change. If you're watching this towards the end of the pandemic, this year that's caused everybody to reevaluate and their lives and find a bit of stillness. He's having these really deep spiritual moments of complete connection inside the earth. See this picture? She's all wrapped in these vines. Okay. So again, this is someone who, even through connection to the natural world, is finding deep, deep, deep awareness. And this is giving rise to this truth coming out. This is a really positive card to come out, because samadhi is really, in many ways, the goal of all spiritual practice, is to find that stillness. And for you, Divine Feminine, we were just talking about you letting go of control and codependency. This is what you're chasing in your meditation. And if you don't have a practice that brings you into samadhi every day, get one. Whether it's TM or yoga nidra or any kind of meditation or mindfulness, this is the place where we can let go of the hooks. And your masculine is finding it, and you're being called by spirit to match it, because he's having flashes of this. He's having flashes of it coming through. The Empress is qualified here by potential. And what this is saying to you, Divine Feminines, we got this like volcano that's about to explode. You are heading towards your Divine Empress energy, but you're not quite there yet. Okay? But it's like something underneath the mountainside that is coming forward. And you are being asked to really step up, to really get on this final leg of the journey. You have made so much progress, but it is really time to become the Empress that is worthy of a king, and to just get out of this game playing and control issues, to really go the full distance. So I keep getting a number, I keep seeing this number in front of me, sort of like a 70-80% number that you're at. And this volcano is about to go, right? This full blast of this was right under the Empress, which is also number 3, creativity. There's something that's being birthed, that's been rumbling for a really long time in your energy system, spiritually, emotionally, in your ascension. And it's really about to burst forward. So don't give up. Whatever healing journey you've been on, you might be, and this is coming up in the energies this year. You might want to look at some of K Moon's videos about this, that the feminine is being challenged to not quit, even if there's no evidence that anything's changing. She's being called. It's like getting to the end of the New York Marathon and giving up in the last 7 miles. Okay, don't give up. Reach that full potential, and no matter what he does or doesn't do, this is where you want to live the rest of your life anyhow. No matter what your cycle of separation and togetherness may be, this is where your joy and your happiness will ultimately come from. Look at this divine feminine, right? She's got her own garden going on, flowers in her hair. You can get there. Spirit is telling you you're getting so close, and you can continue to embody that energy, and it really is for you. The second chakra coming up underneath that Five of Wands. So he may be playing around a little bit. He might be having a little bit of a last gasp of flirting, other women, playing around a little bit. Sexual connections underneath that game playing card. Don't let it throw you. I know that's really hard to deal with and so painful, but it's so just boyish baloney, and he might be working that out. He's working out. That's his last gasp, right? That's his last gasp. It's just try not to get that involved in it. You stay above the fray. Let him work out his stuff about having lots of girls at his disposal versus surrendering to a single female who's a queen. That's just a thing that he's working out. Because the last thing that comes under the Six of Wands, which is a victory in love, is the card of Daniel. I am the angel of marriage, and I am assisting you right now. I mean, wow. That coming out under that Six of Wands. So this is a partnership that is moving in the right direction towards union, for sure. But there are definitely some hiccups and bumps in the road here to be gotten through on both your parts. He's working out stuff about his male identity, his sexuality, what it means to be involved with a divine feminine, balancing out issues of freedom, other women, male desirability, male sexual identity, elevating himself from boy to king. He's got concerns about you squeezing the life out of him, and they're justified. But have faith, because he is connecting into his spiritual truth, and he's working out these things, and the angels are on your side. You have homework to do. And since we're looking at thoughts in here, be aware that these issues of codependency and control on your part, they come from your mental body. So this is very psychological stuff for you. So this is like kind of 12-step-y kind of stuff, therapy kind of stuff. This is really about looking at how childhood traumas have caused you to think in a certain way, like anxiety when you're not able to control the masculine anymore, how negative thoughts and anxiousness and sort of going down tracks of crazy thinking. This is your crazy mind that causes you to act in ways that he doesn't want a part of that. So this is time for you to get real about how attached thinking causes you to behave in ways that are not fully divine. Okay, you clean this up, right? The angel is saying, we're here to support you moving this forward, but it's time for you to be doing that homework. And this is really, like I said, in the realms of cognitive stuff. This is not karma or past lives. This is like how you get triggered, how you think, and then what comes out of your mouth, or what kind of actions you take based on this kind of thinking. That this is not how to hold on to a man. Okay? Okay, let's move into the emotional. Level. All right. What are his feelings right now towards you? That's what's going on in his head. How's he doing emotionally in terms of this connection? Queen of Swords. The Knight of 'Knight 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 of The Wheel of Fortune. The Five of Cups. And the Knight of Cups. Okay, wow, this is back and forth and all over the place. So there's a lot of emotional turmoil, a lot of emotional struggle that he's having with this. This Queen of Wands coming out, Divine Feminine. This is going to be a little bit of a trigger warning here. This is a woman who's been very harsh with her words. And this kind of doubles what came out before about that hand clutching the thing. He's emotionally resistant to being with you because of the way that you've spoken to him in the past. Because you can be really rough stuff emotionally. And this is one of the things where he gets reactive. That Knight of Wands energy, this is the player in the deck. So this is coming out again about him wanting to sort of hold on to being a little bit of a player and player energy, because he has an emotional experience of you being a little bit of a ball buster, honestly. However, it is really available for both of you to finish out this cycle and end it. This is an evolution of new opportunity. Okay? He doesn't really see that right now emotionally. He doesn't really feel that that's completely available. He feels kind of beaten down in this connection, and kind of in his relationships with women in general. He doesn't fully see the potential of being with the Divine Feminine. It's more in his mind he sees it, but he's got some deeper emotional issues attached to women that it shows up in his emotional body and really sort of causes him to put the brakes on it. The positive thing is that the Knight of Cups comes out last, which is a new romantic offering. So this Five of Cups, this is a very youthful looking Five of Cups in this situation. So this is emotional issues, childhood issues connected to his mother. There is something about the way that you've interacted with him emotionally, words that have come out of your mouth emotionally, that remind him of his mother. And he reacts and rebels against that. The Wheel of Fortune sitting in the middle, though, is that you are at a really important space to finish this off. But this is going to be, again, you looking at deeper ways to clear that out of you and to not allow yourself to step into that kind of role, okay? If he can clear this, and remember the angels are working on your side, he'll begin to see that there's a new way to be in relationship with a powerful woman. You've got to shift how that power manifests. All right, let's get this. Assessing. He's assessing that. Knight of Wands, all tied up. Wheel of Fortune, vertigo. Whatever you choose will be correct. Message from your... researching twin flames. And relaxation under the Knight of Cups. Okay. So he is, he's able to assess and sort of separate the issues he has with his mother with you. There's like a wedge there where he's actually conscious emotionally that there's a trigger there between you and his mother. He knows that. And so he's trying to pull this apart a little bit. But again, you have to meet him halfway and demonstrate or energetically embody the shift away from this punishing mother figure. You got to pull yourself out of that role. This Knight of Wands, this player energy. Look at this young woman all tied up like that with this playful thing. I'm going to tell you, this guy can be a little naughty. Okay, he's got some backdoor stuff going on with some other young girls and things like that. That's his defense mechanism from staying removed. It's a way that he guards himself into fully surrendering. It's really important for you to not take that super personally. It's a coping mechanism. It's a coping mechanism. It'll pass, but it is, again, the last gasp. This is kind of like naughty sexual activity in the background somewhere. I know that might be really hard to hear, but it's just, he's got to work that out. Wheel of Fortune, the vertigo, whatever you choose will be correct. So I'm going to say that this wheel is turning, this letting go of this past. There's resistance. I don't want to be with a punishing mother. I'm going to play with young girls instead. This being here right in the middle, this whole thing is going to come to an end, and it's going to re-kick a new cycle. So don't fret about this too much, because it's going to go away, because Spirit is pushing him forward into new awareness. The Five of Cups, researching twin flames. You know, he at some point is going to start becoming more aware of what a twin flame connection is. And it's going to cause him to sort of look up out of this, I'm not looking, I'm not seeing what's really available. This energy is coming through. Whether he's calling it that or not, the depth of this connection, he's starting to feel this weirdness, this woo-woo stuff, it's going to start to have a positive effect on him and bring him out of that blindness. And that's what's going to cause him to be able to let go of the sort of game playing things, where he's going to start to realize that there is a depth and a meaning in terms of male-female connections that is much more spiritual and much more profound than the way he's been interacting with women in the past. The Relaxation card, Divine Feminine, that's a message for you from his higher self. You just got to relax. Okay? Just kick up in the hammock, let go. She's reading a book, release. This is in direct contrast to that other card that had that grasping hand. So let go of control. This is just about you like hanging, suspended in the air, right? Do that inner work. Let that awareness about the mental body come up, but emotionally just take a deep breath and find ways just to float. Let him go through all this. And the more you release like this, and the more you allow yourself to take some deep rests, really rest. Sit outside in nature, do some yoga nidra, just really unhook your fingernails off of this situation and allow yourself to let go, because he will find his way. These final cards, Knight of Cups is a new romantic offering. You had that Six of Wands coming forward. You had the marriage cards. Again, you're moving in the right direction. And he's coming out of this last cycle and moving into this new place of this young, fresh start again. Just have to have that patience to let him get through it and really take a clear evaluation of how you've been in the past and change it. It's time to change it. Okay, I hope that was helpful. And if you found something helpful here, please do hit the like button. I welcome you to subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment. I love to hear from you guys. I get so excited when I get a comment. And I'm having a workshop this Sunday, April 25th, and we're going to be actually doing a chant about turning the healing of the masculine over to divine intervention, so you can support this journey of his from a distance without getting too entangled in it. All right, so if you'd like to learn that technology of Kundalini yoga, come join me. It's my website's in the comments. You can come there, register. It's on Zoom. I do them once a month. Very powerful work. Okay, all right, I'll see you guys next week.